If a conservative government comes into power in Canada in 2025, where are the best places to put your money to grow? In our last video, we talked about some of the changes that might happen in case a conservative government comes in power, but in this video, we're going to break down exactly what industries you should invest in to get the most growth for your money. Stick to the end where we talk about where we're betting most of our money on in Canada moving forward. So let's get into it. So the first industry that the conservative government has really put a focus on is manufacturing. So this is car manufacturing, robotics manufacturing, and a real focus on bringing manufacturing into Canada versus importing most of its goods from Europe or Asia and the like. So putting your money in funds that focus on manufacturing growth in Canada specifically in these industries could be a good idea. And not to mention that some of the donors that are donating towards Pierre's campaign are actually companies in this industry, so that's why we have our eye on it. Number 2, infrastructure and real estate. This is another thing that Pierre of the Conservative government has already said that he's going to focus a lot on in case he comes into power. So things like REITs or other companies that really focus on real estate, not just in apartments, but mostly business infrastructure. So buildings that house those manufacturing companies, different things like that. It's going to be a huge industry, especially if Pierre comes through on his promise to cut the red tape. This is something that's going to be booming a lot. And this is another industry where there are quite a few companies that are in this industry that are donating and supporting towards Pierre's campaign. Number 3, the third industry is technology and innovation. So Pierre has talked a lot about how there's so much potential for AI and technology in Canada, not just because the temperature is low, so the energy that is produced with these data centers would be easy to cool and cheap to cool, but also because we have so many graduates coming out of very esteemed universities in Canada that right now they don't really have anywhere to work. So if he has his policies that make it easier to launch a business, a lot of these new graduates are expected to launch their own initiatives, their own businesses, which will really make Canada a leader in technology and innovation. Among these, there's a specific focus on AI and fintech, which if cryptocurrency does get a bit more favor in Canada, which is one of Pierre's or the Conservative government's focuses, then we can have a lot more options in cybersecurity as well to protect those assets, not just with traditional money, but also cybersecurity in terms of your cryptocurrency as well. And with more businesses that are establishing in Canada, they need more protection against hackers. So that's another reason to bet on the cybersecurity industry as well. Number 4, agriculture and agri-tech. We've already heard that the Conservative government wants to bring manufacturing and production back into Canada. And with more mouths to feed, that means we need more farms. With more farms, maybe we need more technology. And backing on the previous point, where more people are graduating out of Canadian universities with these high-tech degrees, we're probably going to see a boom not just in farms, but also the technology that the farmers are using to get the most bang for their buck and to maximize production. On that note, Pierre and the Conservative Party have also promised to help Canadians maximize their earnings by making export and trade rules very favorable for Canadians. So we may see an increase in Canadian exports on our farmed goods such as apples, milk, and other things that we traditionally do export a lot of. Now, number 5. This is something that we've even heard Trudeau talk a little bit about, and this is mining and critical minerals. So even though Trump has been threatening to have 25% tariffs on Canadian goods, this is a segment that regardless of the tariffs, the US will more than likely continue to import from Canada. So businesses and ETFs that really focus on mining and getting the most out of Canada's natural resources and exporting them at a premium can be a very lucrative industry to invest in in 2025 and moving forward. And this is because minerals such as lithium and cobalt, which are essential in battery production, are very rare and found in Canada. And with EV and electricity-based developments such as cars and other things having a boom in the current environment of the world as we see it today, these minerals are only going to go up in demand and therefore up in price. Now, number 6. This is our favorite one, the one that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So the Conservative Party has already mentioned this several times, and it's a little bit of a controversial one. So the industry in question is the energy industry. So this has things such as oil, gas, and solar and wind power. Canada, we are very advantaged in the way that we have a lot of land that's not really doing anything. And even in the wintertime, we can make electricity with solar power. But where it gets controversial is because, much like how Trump, when he got inaugurated a few days ago, he said they're going to drill, baby drill. Pierre and the Conservative Party have hinted that they're really going to do the same thing. So more drilling, baby, more drilling. So that's on the gas and the oil that's based in Alberta, which in previous Conservative parties, they've really tapped into that. But with the Liberal Party, they really took a step back because it does have some environmental impacts that need to be considered as well. But something that's a bit more cleaner is still the gas energy. So Conservative Party leader Pierre has talked about how in Europe and Asia, they pay a premium for gas because they use it so much, versus the United States, they buy it for not a lot of money from Canada. So the Conservative government is planning to now export directly to those countries that are willing to pay more, making it a very good place for us to maybe put our investment. So companies that focus on the mining, the drilling, refining of the oil and the gas, and not just that, but export prices of everything energy related will most likely skyrocket under a Conservative government. So ETFs and companies that focus on these things are a pretty sure bet in the grand scheme of things. So while Canada has been under Liberal leadership, which has really taken economic growth on a backside for the last few years, if we get a Conservative Party government in, it's really going to focus on growth, infrastructure, really leveraging Canada and the natural resources that we have and turning it into a way to make money from in a global environment, which we really need to be trading now on a global scale and looking at global economics in a global world that we're in today. Did I miss anything? What are your thoughts? If you think that there's anything else or another great industry that's good to invest in, drop it in the comments below. Now, in our next video, we're going to talk a little bit more about what exact ETFs and companies that we are investing in our portfolio. Look out for it here or in the link in the description. And as always, see you in the next one.